Hi guys, it's me Karen, and I've come to show you a video on how to use this particular die. There was a question on YouTube on how to use these, and since I own it, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I use it. This is S5-182. I have a few of these dies. They cut the sides of cards, and there's a little thing about these that they probably don't tell you on the package. The bigger ones here do embossing, so here you have it, and if you notice there is not an edge along here like there is on this particular one where the line goes. This part is the cutting part of the die. The little dots up here are more of like an embossing, or like when you use a punch, just cuts out the little tiny holes. The top up here will not cut anything because the cutting line is down at the bottom. This one particularly does not have a cutting line on the top or the bottom, so this just cuts a decorative piece into the paper. So if you wanted like a ribbon that goes through the paper, this is the one you would use. Or you could use it with this particular die to make it an edge piece, because this one has the cutter and these line up absolutely perfect on a card. So you would have this detail plus the little dots and then the cut line. That's for this piece. You could also, if you wanted, try to lay it down here so you can see, use this, and this is just a cutting blade with no decorative pieces on it. And you could lay it on top of this one, and then it would cut out a really pretty scalloped piece with an embossing piece in here and the little dots. It would be cut from the top and the bottom, only if you do it this particular way. One of these bigger dies, which is the scalloped one, if I can get it close enough, you will notice it has a continual line, which is a cutting line. So this one in particular will cut out the whole bottom page. And I have a little piece of that right here. So this one here will cut out the bottom half of this. Now I used the little dotted one here. Oh no, I'm sorry. I used this plain one up here to cut this out. So you can cut it out as a little ribbon piece if you wanted to put it on a colored piece of paper. I don't have a colored piece of paper here, but if you wanted it to do this kind of effect on your card, which is kind of pretty. So this is the one that does that. There's another big one here, and if you'll notice, the only cutting parts on here are the little teardroppy things, and then there is an embossing that goes around the edges. And again, with this one, you would have to use one of the cutting blades on the bottom if you wanted to cut it off the bottom of the card. And you have a whole bunch of different designs. So this one's got a stitching and a cutting. This is like a bigger dot and a cutting, and this is a tiny dot cutting, and this is just a cutting. Embossing, embossing, cutting with some embossing. So I'll go ahead and show you. This particular one here will cut out the card in this shape with the little holes in it. Looks really cute. But if you wanted to do an embossing piece on it, all you would do was lay this down, and I can actually run this through my machine and show you what this will do if you wanted to add a touch to your card. So just lay it down, line up the notches, because this is cut at 5 3/4 inch, and that's where the outside notches will hit. The inside notches here hit at 4 1/4. And I'm just going to eyeball it to bring it up a little bit. I'm going to put a little piece of tape. This is like your sticky note tape, and I'm just going to stick it on the side over here so it won't slide around. Of course, my paper is going to slide, so I'm going to add another piece on the other side. Okay, I'm using a Spellbinders grand caliber to cut with. This particular machine works just like a Cuttlebug, except for the impression plates are pretty tight. It'll also run through a regular sized piece of paper, 11 by 8.5. The whole sheet will fit on here if you wanted to do some major cutting. But it also takes nice scrapbooking paper. The paper I'm using here is cardstock. I believe it's 110 weight. I will always turn it over and see if I got it cut. So you notice it'll cut through here, but you'll only get the little cuts. It will not cut a chunk out. So what we'll do is we'll peel this out. And these are, what do you call it? Very I can't say the word. They got a lot of little cuts. There you go. So it's a little tougher to get out because you don't want to rip your paper or dent your paper when you're doing it. And I think I ripped a little piece right there. But when you're working with it, you can glue that back down. So I'm going to put it on here so you can see what it did. You see the pretty little cuts it did. Now, Spellbinders does recommend that you put a little piece of wax paper down between the paper and the die. It'll make it easier to come out. I don't have any wax paper, so I can't do that for you. So basically, that is what that one will look like. It's kind of a little lattice. It's really pretty. And on a card piece, like if you made it in a card, that would make a really pretty bottom on it. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is, this is a card front, and it's got the markings down, and I'm going to do a long one across here. So you put your card in that position, so you open it, so you don't want to cut the bottom if you want to have it pretty on the top. We're going to use this one that just embosses and no cutting. And then we'll use, we'll go with the dashes on this one just because I haven't shown you that one. And what I'm going to do is put it up a little higher, and then I'm going to leave space between the two. You can just push them right up to each other. It'll work that way. I want to show you what it'll look like with just a bit of space in there. I'll go ahead and put my tape back on. And again, like I said, I don't have wax paper, but if you wanted to and make it easier on yourself, put the wax paper in between and clean out your die a little better. And then I will run it through again. Oh, gotta put the other plate on. There we go. So we push that one through. Because the plates are bigger, it takes a little while longer to get it to go through the machine. Okay, now it is cut off the bottom edge. And we'll turn it over, and that is what it does on this side. So we will take off the bottom die, and we have that cute little stitching edge, which would look great on the card by itself, but we added that, and see how it embosses the paper too and cuts out the edges. And then when you lay it down on a card, that's the effect you get, is the cute little scallop on it, which is really pretty. Now since I don't have another card made, I could show you how it looks going this direction. It's going to cut into this side, I think is what it's going to do. But I could cut it and show you. Just a little piece of paper. Okay, cutting skills are not that good. So we've used this one. I showed you what the dotted one looks like, so we'll just use the plain one, and now we're going to just put it where the notches are on the inside. And we used that one, we used that one. Did I use, yeah, okay, well, we can either, trying to figure out what you haven't seen yet. I'll just go ahead and cut it out with this one and show you that it just cuts. This is the only one of the set that cuts like this, though. And I would like to put it through this way. You know what side your machine has that has the sweet spot, is what they call it. On this side of my machine pushes through a little harder than the other side. So I know I get a good cut the first time through and don't have to run it through twice. Okay, and then we'll push that through. And see, it cuts off the bottom because it has that continuing piece there. And then when you take it off here, you'll have that. Got dirty, but let's pretend this is the other part of your card. And that's the effect, we'll do it this way, the effect you'll get with that card. The cute little bottom on that. And I also showed you that you can use it as a ribbon too, or you could layer these up. And if you did this in a different color, like a, you know, just a pink or a pattern piece, and had the white underneath, that would be really pretty too. So I hope that helps show you how to use these. Cleaning these out is not fun, by the way. That's another trick for the wax paper. It will not leave those in so bad. So that's the cutting blades are this set down here, all the little ones plus the scalloped one. The embossing ones that will not cut through your paper are these. Like I said, you could just use that cute little scallop in the middle of your card too, or your paper. You don't really need to use the bottom to cut it out, but it is so pretty. So that's what we have for you. I hope that helps. Thanks, bye.